All right, we are in business. All right, so you're on my screen over here. So if you start drinking coffee in the middle of class, I'm going to see it. I think it was last week that happened. Not with any of you, of course. All right, let's bring the feet together, hands together. And just start to find your breath. This is really the thing that links us to the present moment. On your next exhale, let's lower the arms. Open the eyes if they were closed. Inhale to reach up, look up. And we'll fold forward for the exhale, legs straight or bent. Let's just inhale halfway up and send the left foot back for your exhale. So you're in a lunge on the fingertips. We'll straighten the right leg any amount and exhale to rebend it. 2 more times just like that. You'll find that in 20 minutes from now, your leg gets way straighter than whatever it's currently doing. But just see what your starting off point is. And after this next exhale for a bent leg, we'll inhale back foot forward, chest forward, and send the right foot back for your exhale so you're just on the other side. Inhale to straighten the left leg, and exhale to bend it. 2 more times. So the gaze is just slightly forward. That's just going to encourage your neck to stay on the same track as your back. You're not dropping your head. And this next time the knee is bent, we'll place palms flat, step into plank, and we'll just stay there in plank. Think of lifting the belly button up, reach the tailbone toward the feet. And if it's too much weight in the hands and arms, just put the knees down. Life will be a little bit easier, but still not exactly easy. Keep the weight on that pointer finger knuckle so that we don't end up with any wrist issues. And on the next exhale, we'll just come all the way to the belly. We'll let the elbows graze the ribs as we descend. And then untuck the toes and just come into Sphinx. So that our elbows are slightly in front of the shoulders, fingers claw the floor, and it's like we're pulling our chest through the arms. The chin is lifted slightly. Engage the quads so that you feel your kneecaps lift. Then on your exhale, just bring your right heel toward your butt. And inhale to extend the leg out. Pubic bone is going to press down. Then left knee toward the butt. Inhale to extend it out. Again, right leg, as far as you can, squeeze it in and extend. This is just working your hamstrings. And the other side. One more time each side. Notice that as you're thinking about your leg, sometimes the tendency is to slouch the upper body. So try to keep your chest lifting up and through your arms. Okay, the next time that your left foot is down, curl the toes, forearm plank, lift your hips. And same as before in your regular straight arm plank, you need the knees down, not a big deal. As we think, belly button up, tailbone reaching back. And the breath is just steady. Let's come to the knees so that we can straighten the arms. And we'll just walk the hands back a little bit for a tabletop. On your inhale, pull yourself to an arched position. On your exhale, press to a rounded position. 2 more like that. Inhale, the shoulder blades will squeeze together. Upper back is strong so the chest can open. And exhale, stretch through the shoulder blades. 1 more time. We'll take 1 more inhale to this cow shape and press the downward dog for your exhale. Once you get there, start to pedal out your feet so that each heel has the opportunity to touch the floor. It may or may not actually touch the floor, but you're just giving it all the chance in the world. Let's use that to start walking feet toward hands. Eventually, you'll wind up toward the top of your mat. When you get there, feet together, inhale. Fold, exhale. Rise all the way up, inhale. And lower the arms by your sides, exhale. Again, we'll reach up, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Halfway up, inhale. Send the left foot back so you're in your lunge, exhale. This time we'll reach the arms up to the ceiling, inhale. And find your cactus arms, exhale. So the 90-degree bend in the elbows with elbows and knuckles pressing back. And you might have to roll your shoulders an extra time to make that happen. Next, straighten your leg, slide your knuckles up the wall behind you, arms straight. Exhale, return to your cactus lunge. Inhale, we straighten everything out. We try to keep the hips facing front. Exhale, bend it all again. One more time. Notice how much your legs have to squeeze when you're at that straight front leg. Exhale to bend. We'll lower the fingertips. Back foot forward for your inhale. And right foot back for your exhale so that we're just on the other side. Inhale to reach up. Cactus arms, exhale. We're going to take an extra breath just like this. So you could set your shoulders. So it's literally like that Anusara shoulder loop. They go up and around. On your next inhale, whenever that is, straighten everything. You're pressing into the floor, reaching a little higher. Exhale, bend. And again, that ball of left foot is quite important here for your balance. We'll take one more. And this time we'll meet in plank, palms flat. And this time bring your legs together. Squeeze the thighs together. And take it over to your left hand. Reach the right arm up. And push your left thigh up into your right thigh. So that your hips stay floating. And come through center over to the other side. That right thigh is now going to press up into the left thigh. Maybe you can look up and see your left thumb. And we'll come through center. Your choice knees up or down. We're going to come all the way to the belly again. Chest and hips can land roughly at the same time. And find your Sphinx spot. Again, it's that same shoulder loop idea. So you might have to slouch to roll your shoulders up toward your ears and then take them back. And then pull your chest through. So you feel lifted. Kick yourself in the butt with the right foot. And let that go. Press your pubic bone down. Try the other side. Let that go, and we'll alternate this by, or changing the pose completely, not really alternating. Right fingers out to the side, left arm in front of you. And either stay here to help you keep lifted, or reach back and pull your foot toward you. So it's like a Bakasana type of thing, or however close to Bakasana you want to go. But think about your chest continuously lifting. Don't let the leg situation distract you. And if the leg thing does distract you, just let that go and bring your right hand out to the side to give you a little extra up. And release that right leg, try the other side, right forearm in front, pubic bone pressing down, left arm back. And it doesn't matter how close your back foot gets toward your butt. In an hour, it will go way further, but don't let your chest slouch. Resist that urge. Try to pay attention to the fullness of the pose. And we'll let that go. We'll meet in a forearm plank. So parallel with the forearms, hips up, belly in. Make a choice, knees up or down. This time we'll walk the feet in toward the elbows. So it becomes down dog B. Your butt will lift. The head will drop. And you'll use your hands to help press the chest closer to the legs. As you do that, your belly will naturally hollow. It's a really nice stretch for the back. We'll meet in a straight arm downward dog. Let each heel have an opportunity to feel the floor. So either pedal the feet or just engage your quads and press the heels down. And we'll start to walk the feet forward toward the hands. Whenever you get there, feet together. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale to fold. Rise all the way up. Inhale. Samasthiti. Exhale. Let's reach up. Inhale. Keep the tailbone heavy as you're reaching. Exhale to fold. Halfway up to the inhale. We'll send the left foot back for the exhale. This time, warrior one positioning of the legs if you can. So the back heel would be down. We'll lift the arms up. And let's interlace the fingers, press the palms up to the ceiling. Both arms straight. Left hip forward. And keeping the torso square, we're just going to bring our left hand to the right thigh, the right hand to the back leg. It's going to feel like you're twisting, but you're not really twisting. You're just bringing your left ribs forward a little more. This back hand on the back leg, you can feel, is your back leg strong and straight? So keeping all of that, release your grip, and just lift the arms for a prayer position. And see if you can get the same height that you had with interlaced fingers. See if your arms can stay straight and if your ribs can stay square. And let's slowly lower fingertips down, and we'll just step back, foot forward, and right foot back. So we're on warrior one, side two. Heels line up, reach up, interlace the fingers, palms up. And try to interlace the way that feels a little weird, just so that you get out of habits, so that you're paying a little more attention. I love how Jules has like 1/3 of her mat for her own. Sally's butt is taking up a large portion of Jules's mat. But Sally is the queen. So Jules can always just work on the hardwood floor. Okay, right hand to front thigh, left hand to back thigh. And you can slide that left hand around as much as you want. You should be able to feel that your back leg is straight, and it's like it's pushing up into your hand so that your kneecap is moving away from the floor. It takes a lot of strength to maintain this squareness. So when you're ready, arms up. If your shoulders are tight, you might have your hands at shoulders width. Maybe they're together or anywhere in between that range. And let's lower the hands to the floor. Step into plank. And this time, let's bring our feet about mat's width. And let's bring our thumbs to touch. Notice that your hips are facing down. Keep that happening. And when you're ready, lift your right hand to your right shoulder. Lower it. Left hand to left shoulder. Lower it. And just go back and forth at your pace. Try to avoid the wiggling. It's very hard. Let's just take one more cycle. And whenever you're done with that cycle, we'll step the feet in and the hands out so you wind up in a normal plank again. And then we'll come all the way down to the belly. For Sphinx pose again. Pull ourselves through. Okay. So just start to bring both feet in. Squeeze your heels toward your butt. And notice how when we do that, we let the pubic bone get light. Let's avoid letting the pubic bone get light. So still tuck your tailbone so that you still feel that heaviness, so that you're not overdoing the back arch for that low back. Release the legs out, re-anchor through the pubic bone, re-roll the shoulders, chest up, and then try it one more time. So we're not losing the integrity of the pelvis or the chest lifting when we work the hamstrings. And extend the legs out. We'll meet in that forearm plank. If it's too much for your shoulders to have your forearms parallel, just let your thumbs touch so that your forearms make a V shape. It's a little more gentle. And that would still be true when we're going to walk our feet in for down dog B. You could turn it into dolphin instead and interlace your fingers. When you're ready, walk the feet in, let your butt lift. Make a choice if you're keeping your palms flat or if you're going to interlace the fingers for dolphin. Either way, relax your neck. And from this place, let's try to give each heel the opportunity to touch the floor. It is much harder than when your arms were straight. So allow yourself that liberty. It's just a trajectory. If your quads are strong, your heel will get lower. Okay, so with both legs straight and strong, start to straighten the arms. If you were in dolphin, you just have to flatten your palms first. And let's lift the right leg up to the ceiling. Inhale. Step to the hands. Exhale. High lunge for an inhale. And warrior two for the exhale. Let's straighten the right leg. Inhale. And rebend that leg. Exhale. Let's bring the right palm to face up, reach up and back. And our left hand is now on a straight leg, and it's just like the feedback you got in Warrior One. You're basically pushing your leg up toward your hand. And the hand is not weight bearing, so we're not cranking weight down into the knee. Instead, we're just using this as like a little tactile feedback. Let's rise up to your Warrior Two. Left arm behind the back. Try to grab hold of your right thigh, and let's place our right elbow on the thigh. Start to look up. You can even think chin to left shoulder. Dig your right heel into the floor. And if you feel 100% comfortable with your back here, reach the right arm out. So it comes off of your thigh. It's no longer offering support. Now your right heel took over that strength requirement. Let's rise up, lower the hands to the floor, and step back to either vinyasa or downward dog. We'll do the other side from down dog, so it's very easy to stick in vinyasas or equally easy to delete them. Okay. Left leg up, inhale. Step forward to the hands, exhale. High lunge for the inhale. And warrior two, we lower that back heel. We have a heel to arch alignment, so you can always negotiate your feet if it didn't turn out like that. Hip bones facing long edge, collarbones facing long edge. Left palm turns up, reaches up and back. So it's very tempting to put a lot of weight in this right hand. Try to avoid that. You don't want to apply side pressure on the knee. Think about reaching through this top arm as you bend the front knee. So your knee is moving forward, your top hand is moving back. Use an inhale to come on up. And we'll bring the right arm behind the back. You might need to roll your shoulder a few times in and out before you get comfortable with that positioning. And left elbow to thigh. So it's just a Parshvakonasana variation. If you want to extend that left arm, nothing else should really change. So if you extend the arm and you start to collapse in any way, just put the elbow there again. Okay, strongly press into that left heel, rise up to your warrior two, and we'll lower the hands, vinyasa or downward dog. Let's lift the right leg again. Inhale. Step forward. Exhale. High lunge. Inhale. Into warrior two. Exhale. Straighten the right leg. Creep the left foot just a couple inches in, so your stance is maybe 2 inches shorter. We'll again reach the left arm behind the back. And we'll reach the right arm out and down for a triangle shape. But a triangle with that left arm crawling around that right thigh. Try not to put a lot of weight in this right hand. Some of you will reach down for your big toe, and then it's actually going to feel like you're pulling up with your right hand. But your toe is stubbornly pushing down. This will just depend on your hamstring, where you decide to put your hand. Legs are straight. So your hamstring decides about your hand, not your ego. Okay, let's rise up on an inhale. Slide that left foot back again, the 2 inches or so, warrior two. Into Gomukhasana arms. So our left arm is going to roll forward. We'll get our knuckles between our shoulder blades. Our right arm is going to reach up with the palm facing back. And we'll bend the elbow to link the fingers. So while we're here, I'm just going to face the camera. The tendency is to let the ribs start to face some odd diagonal. But remember, you're in warrior two. You were in that warrior two before you messed with the arms. So don't let the arms distract you from the foundation of your pose. So keep square to the long edge of the mat. Try to keep opening through the throat. And just take one more breath here because I know your right quads are dying at this moment. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. Lower the hands, step back, vinyasa or not. Okay, we'll be on the other side. So left leg up high, inhale. Step forward, exhale. High lunge, inhale. Open up to your warrior. And set up for your triangle. So it's that heel to arch alignment. We all have a different preference for exactly how far apart our feet are. Right arm's going to come behind. And it's the rolling forward of the shoulder. It's the same thing that you're going to do in your Gomukhasana. We reach out as far as we can, armpit away from hip, and we lower the hand gently. We let it decide, where does it go today? The chin is going to move toward that right shoulder. The belly will move toward the spine will move back toward your forearm. That's another great place for feedback. If you can press your back into your forearm, you'll know that your lowest ribs are not flaring out. Okay, we'll release the arms, rise up. We'll find our warrior two positioning again, heel to arch. For Gomukhasana arms. Reach around. So to get this grip, another thing folks do is slouch a little bit or arch a little bit. Try to find your neutral. In Warrior Two, one of the reasons this pose is so friendly, you have your hip bones in the front and back at the same height. You can tilt your pubic bone up toward your belly button quite easily. So just because you added some crazy arms doesn't mean you stop doing the rest of the pose. Okay, and let's slowly get out of there. Vinyasa. Okay, let's come to hands and knees again. Then lower to your elbows. Measure it out so you know your elbows are not too wide. Fingers should wrap around. Place the palms down. And we're just going to do cat-cow like you did before, but with our elbows down. So we'll inhale to arch. Pull your chest through. And exhale to round. Initiate this with Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha. So it's reflected in the upper back. But it's really letting go of Mula Bandha, letting your butt lift up, then drawing your sitting bones closer together, drawing your belly in. That's what initiates this rounding. And just go back and forth at your pace. And after your next inhale to arch, we'll just press to down dog B on the forearms. And again, if that's too much in your shoulders, interlace your fingers, then it will be just called dolphin. Okay, straight arms, regular downward dog. Let's bring the right leg up high, inhale. And step to the hands, exhale. We'll lower the left knee down. So we're in Anjaneyasana. And let's place the hands on that right thigh. Let's go for robot arms. So if you need your hand on your thigh in order to keep bending your knee, feel free to do that. Otherwise, arms are just going to be close to the body, palms facing each other. Roll your shoulders like you did earlier, that shoulder loop scenario. It'll feel like your elbows are poking into the wall behind you. So chest up, chin slightly up so your throat is open. And for every inch you can bend your front knee, press your elbows an inch backwards. So you feel like your chest is just expanding. If this is easy for you, lower your fingertips down just under your hips. Take one more breath. And we'll slowly get out of there. We'll lower the left hand down inside of the right foot and turn that right foot out 45 degrees. Let the knee open up a bit so the inner edge of the right foot lifts, but the ankle doesn't bend. And let's reach back for our back foot. So when you reach, it's the same thing you did earlier. Your hamstring in the back leg is bringing your foot to you. So the other aspects of the pose don't have to really change. Your foot comes in. If, however, it doesn't come in far enough, you can either just play with this, bringing it in, or you can use a strap. Once you get your grip, you can start to pull it in a little closer. You'd bring your heel toward your left sitting bone, since it's your left foot back there. I like to shrug the left shoulder up toward my shoulder, toward my ear a little bit, just to increase the stretch through the waistline. You might want to experiment with that. It feels kind of amazing. And then we'll slowly get out of there. We're going to keep this front leg turned out pretty much where it is. We're just going to back up to a straight leg. And you might be able to then flex your foot a little bit more. And you decide if your hands want to go on the inside of the foot or do they want to frame your leg. So it's like a half split, just with this leg twisted open. A little bit difficult. Let's start to rotate with this front ankle. So right now your toes are facing the right. Let's point the toes so they're facing front, and we're trying to get the ball of the foot to the ground. May or may not go. Then bring your toes in. You'll be stretching this outer ankle and reflex back to where you started. Go one more time in this direction. Try to keep the legs straight so your quads are engaged the whole time. And go the other direction, starting with the toes curling in. Those of you that find lotus uncomfortable in your feet or ankles, do this more often. Okay, and let's return to Anjaneyasana so that we can find the other side Anjaneyasana. You might want to vinyasa between sides, you might not. We're going to meet with the left leg in front, with the right knee down, with the right toes untucked. And you might need to look back there. Check that your foot is actually behind your knee. Sometimes I look back and my foot is way off in right field. Okay, so when you're ready, robot arms. Roll the shoulders back, poke your elbows back. And that's going to activate your upper back. It's going to feel like your shoulder blades are poking into the back of your heart. So the way we're stretching the front body here is by working the back body. Every inch you bend the front knee, you're going to poke your elbows back more. Or if you're lowering your fingers to the floor, pretty much everything else is the same. You just have to maybe go a little further back with your shoulders. Good. Okay, come on up somehow to your Anjaneyasana. Hands inside of the foot. Turn that front foot 45 degrees out. Let the knees start to drop open. So from the front view, it would just look like this. That knee is just moving away from the torso, but this ankle is not bending any weird way. The inner edge of the foot only lifts when your knee is quite far away from the torso. So when you're ready, reach back. Maybe your foot is available to you, and you'll pull it in toward your butt. We don't want any weird torque in the knee, so you're pulling your right foot toward your right butt cheek. And here's where I play with the shoulder shrugging up toward the ear. Some people like to come onto the forearms. Most of you in this call have done this pose 1,000 times, so you have your own way of doing it. Okay, so let's slowly get out of there. We're just going to back up our butt, keep our left foot pretty much there, and straighten the leg. Maybe flex the foot a little more. Engage the quads. You probably thought they already were, but if you really think about it, were they? For me, the answer is probably not. I really have to think about them if I want them to behave. Okay, so let's start to circle that foot forward and in and a reflex. And go just as big as you can with this circle. And reverse the direction. Okay, we'll rebend the knee, either vinyasa or step to your downward dog. from downward dog. Let's bring the right foot forward. Simple twist. Left hand is just going to stay where it is, right arm up. Stack the arms, stack your knee over your ankle. Swing your right hip back. So this, you should feel pretty nicely in your hip, in your glute. If you're not feeling it there, it's possible that you're swinging your hips out to the side too much. So if you try to aim your right hip toward your back foot, without letting this front knee splay out, there is quite a delicious stretch there for your glutes. Okay, let's unravel, lower the left knee, and we'll walk this right foot to the left about 12 inches. So now your right foot is more in front of your left leg. Straighten the front leg, flex the foot, and from your hip, you're going to keep your quads engaged. You're just going to, from your hip, swivel your toes to face the right. Hello, IT band. Nice to meet you. I'm sorry we have such a difficult relationship. So this is one of those things that we have to do pretty often. If you're a runner, do you stretch after your runs? I didn't used to when I was a runner. But this would be one to incorporate into your stretches if you do. Okay, let's turn that foot up again. Rebend it, walk it into a nice normal place. And step back, vinyasa, or don't. We're going to meet with our left leg in front for a simple twist, which is simple but not easy because we really have to line up our joints here. So our right hand is flat, our shoulders over our hand, or over our wrist more like, and then our left arm is going to stack over that. Don't let that left knee splay out, so you're going to still feed left knee in toward right shoulder a little bit. So the ball of your left foot is very participatory in this pose. Swing your left hip toward your back foot. And within a few inches or so, wiggle in this pose until you find that hip stretch. It's a very subtle situation, and 1 inch can make all of the difference. Okay, let's untwist, lower the back knee, walk the left foot to the right, straighten the leg, engage the quads, more than you thought you could, and from the hip, swivel. For some of you, the edge of the foot is going to touch the floor. Some of us, not quite. Just whatever your range is. And lean your chest forward a little bit more until it feels sensational. Also, IT band things, we know all about foam rollers. I have one in my house, but of course, I use it to put my sweaty t-shirt on to dry, and I don't actually roll out on it. But rolling out on it does make a huge difference. Okay, let's return to our Asana. Left foot's going to creep over to the left again. Step back, vinyasa. Okay, right leg pigeon. You decide how far forward your foot goes, but just like your simple twist, you got to keep this right hip moving back. For this particular pigeon, there's so many things we can do, but for right now, we're going to bring our left forearm parallel to the top of the mat and our right fingers out to the side. Sort of like how you were in Sphinx pose earlier. So we're going to keep our right hip moving back, at least energetically, not really moving very far. And with the back leg, we're just going to squeeze our heel toward our butt and then let it go again. And just do that a few more times. You'll squeeze it as close as you can and then let it go. Okay. The next time that your foot is close to you, if you don't need this right hand on the ground, you're going to reach back for the foot and pull it in toward your left sitting bone, just like you did earlier in your Asana. But now it's a lot harder because you have a lot of your body on the ground. The more surface area is on the floor, the harder it is to get some mobility. That's why we start always with standing poses. So take it easy, make wise choices. This left hand that's on the floor, it can help pull us into a twist so that our right shoulder is moving back, and then it's way easier to deal with this back foot. Okay, slowly get out of there. Step back, vinyasa, or don't. And let's try the other side, pigeon. You decide, does your foot go close to your right hip pointed? Does it go far from your hip flexed, or is it in the middle somewhere? Right forearm parallel to top edge of mat. Left fingers are just out to the side, helping us get balanced. If we don't have the left fingers out to the side, sometimes we end up here with our hips facing a diagonal. We have all our weight on our left hip. We're trying to avoid that. So the left hip is moving back. The right hip is moving forward and down. So we'll just squeeze that heel in. Maybe try that a few times. When it feels like you can move your left hand without losing your balance, then reach back. There's a lot of scissoring of the legs. Just like earlier when you were in your lunge with both legs straight, same kind of situation. See how adding a little more twist can help you get your back leg closer to your butt? Okay, and let's slowly get out of there. And either vinyasa or we'll meet in down dog. We'll step the right foot forward for another twist, possibly the same simple one you did before, or same idea, but you're gonna have your left arm on the outside of your leg, which seems like it shouldn't be that much worse. Then you go to try it and it's like a whole other ballgame. So to get that, I roll the flesh of the thigh in, then I can get my armpit closer to the thigh, because we need the entire arm available. Otherwise, the floor is too far away. So wherever your left hand is, you're just going to try to stack your right arm on top of that. Take 2 more breaths. Swing that right hip back. Let's unravel. And in the same vein, we'll go for Ardha Matsyendrasana. The back knee is going to come outside of the right foot, and we'll have a seat. This next pose is going to feel similar to what you just did. We'll lift the left arm up, roll the flesh of the thigh in, and again, try to get your armpit close to your thigh. You can either keep your elbow bent like this, or you can reach your hand down for your foot. Reaching for the foot sometimes is distracting, because then the elbow is potentially hyperextending. So you decide. If you're keeping your elbow bent, you're just pushing with your arm strength to give you a little extra twist. You'll end up with a stretch for the hip or the glute. Okay. Let's slowly unravel. We still have our right foot on the floor, so we're just going to step to a lunge again. Just bring the torso forward, free up the left leg, and step back. Let's go quarter turn to the left. So we wind up in Prasarita Padottanasana 8. Hands are going to be between the heels, inhale, and lower the head toward the ground, exhale. So that your elbows are pretty much staying over your wrists. Everyone is very geometrically sound at this moment. Lots of squareness happening. Okay, let's straighten the arms for an inhale. We'll walk the hands to the right side and just vinyasa or somehow change sides so that we can have our left foot forward. What the heck did we do? Ah, we did a twist. That's what we did. As soon as my left foot landed there, I was like, yes, my body knows what we did, even though sometimes my brain doesn't. So you can wiggle into it however you want. Sometimes if you have your back knee down, it's a lot easier to get a far twist. So roll the flesh of the left thigh in, reach as far up and over as you can. If you did all that and your right hand still won't touch the floor, you could do a prayer twist, and then you'll be lining up your forearms. Or you could keep your right hand on the big toe side of the foot like we did earlier. Janet, bring your back ankle in 2 inches, like the ankle bone. You have a little bit of a sickle foot. There you go, that's better. Yes, we'll talk feet in just a sec, but that's better. Okay, so let's unwind, and we're going to meet in Ardha Matsyendrasana. So your left foot is already anchored. You'll just bring your right knee in to the pinky toe side and have a seat. Both butt cheeks down. Right arm is going to come up, and either just hug your left knee to your right shoulder or hook your arm or reach down. Full pose also has our left hand reaching around the back to find our right thigh. And since I'm recovering from something, I am keeping that hand down as extra support. You don't necessarily need a reason to keep a hand down. Okay, let's slowly get out of there, and we'll meet in our lunge again. And while we're here, I'm just going to say one little bit about ankles. So sometimes, I'm going to flip myself this way. Sometimes this happens with our back foot. See how the ankle bone is a little bit to the side of the ball of the foot? So we just want to bring it more to here so it's in alignment. And it's not a big physical shift, but it will change your pose a lot. Okay, quarter turn to the right. Hands between the heels, inhale. And head down, exhale. Either stay like this or lift up to your tripod headstand with your wrists and elbows still at 90 degrees. And if you're thinking about it but not really comfortable, just come onto the balls of your feet. Miss Carol, you're a little bit piked. 6 more inches, Carol. There you go. Good. If your legs are up, start to bring them down again. And we'll walk the hands toward the left so that we can meet in downward dog, normal. Okay. Let's bring our right knee to the left elbow. Not elbow, sorry, wrist. Then our right hip to the right wrist. So now our thigh bone is parallel to the top edge of the mat. Let's arrange the legs in a swastika shape so that we have 90-degree situations between knees and hips. And we'll twist to bring our left forearm down. Just like you did in your pigeon earlier, left hand is flat, right fingertips are just off to the side a little further. Tim calls this swastikasana. This is a lot of hands and arms working to twist us. Jules is really not fitting on her mat. It is too funny. Oh, but Sally is so comfortable. Okay, let's slowly untwist. And we're going to turn it into pigeon again. So we'll bring that left leg in. We'll adjust the front leg so we have our shin bone again centered on the mat. And in this pigeon, we'll stay a little more upright, but we're going to keep our fingers down. And you decide, do you want your fingers down significantly far in front? This will be less back bend. Or left hand to right foot, right hand to thigh. This will be more back bend, or anywhere in between. So once you're set, just with your hamstring strength, you're going to bring your left foot in closer to your butt, and then let it go again. And just do that a few times. Just train your hamstring to engage. Okay, so when you feel like this is fine, no problem, you're going to reach your left hand back for the inside of your foot. When you can, bend your elbow more so your foot comes closer. At some point, you're going to feel like it's okay to slide your toes on your forearm to your elbow. And then your toes will just press into your elbow. Your right hand is still helping square you, or your right hand is reaching up and around, and nothing is helping square you except the strength of your legs. Take 2 more breaths. Squeeze your thighs together. Good, and slowly let that go. Good fight, Janet. Anytime you lost it, you got it back. And we'll try the other side, starting with swastikasana. So the setup for this is sometimes confusing for folks. If you bring your left knee to your right wrist and swing your left hip forward, you end up with your thigh parallel to the top of your mat. And arranging the legs is not such a big deal. So thigh parallel to top of mat, now right forearm parallel. It's already going to be a big twist. Left hand is just near the right hand. So you have a push-pull action. Your right hand will pull you over, your left hand will push. And Janet, put your right hand flat and think about the energy it would take to do a Pincha Mayurasana. Yes. Good. All right, let's get out of there and we'll turn it into pigeon again. One trick of the trade for doing a pigeon where we have our back leg occupied, how we're going to do, is put this foot a little closer to your right hip than you might normally. Earlier, we were in a pigeon where it might have been quite far forward. So if you just bring it in a bit, you might have an easier balance. So decide where you want your fingers, and then a few times we'll just squeeze the heel in and extend the leg back again. Sometimes we think of poses like this as flexibility, but really they have to be very strong. We're going to stretch the front of the body, so we have to work the back body. So that hamstring is squeezing in. When you feel like it, reach back. And maybe this is as far as it goes, because already you'll notice balance is an issue. We tend to rock over, so we have to keep squeezing the thighs together. And maybe we slide the toes up to the elbow. We lift that right hand up so that when we bring our left hand around, there's actually something there to grab. And we'll slowly exit vinyasa at your pace. So we're gonna find a prasarita place again. Just step either foot forward based on where you want to be for your camera, and just stand up facing the long edge of your mat. We'll reach out on an inhale, interlace the fingers behind the back for the exhale, roll the shoulders, inhale, straight arms, and fold forward any amount, let your arms come overhead. And while we're here, each inhale, get your arms really strong, reach them away from you. Each exhale, let gravity assist on your descent. And just continue that for 5 breaths. Okay, next inhale, we'll rise up. Keep reaching with your knuckles so that the chest stays open the whole time. And exhale, hands to the hips. Inhale, chest up there, elbows back. Fold forward, exhale for prasarita D. We're going to reach down for the big toes. If the big toes are too far away, just hold your calf muscles or anywhere else that you can grab with straight legs. If you can bring your weight very slightly forward, you're going to notice another couple inches head toward the floor. We're not just hanging out on the heel. Okay, let's straighten the arms for an inhale. Bring the hands down under your shoulders. And we'll just walk the feet apart. And you'll notice there's a spot where they don't want to go any further apart. We'll take 3 breaths there. And we'll have our feet still facing front, the soles of the feet still down. This is one way that people work on a side split. This is literally as low as I go. Let's take a different form of our Samappanasana prep. Heels are going to dig into the floor, toes and kneecaps up. Then you can walk your hands back a little bit further and let your feet slide a little further apart. So we have a straight line from hips, knees, and ankles. The likelihood we could keep a straight line if we bring our butt down is very low. So let's bring our butt down. And who cares? It is what it is, V shape or whatnot. Let's bring our knuckles in. Drop the elbows down so you're bending your wrists the other way. Okay, shake it out. Let's bring the legs to a bit more of a comfortable V shape. Whatever you were in, just make it a little comfier. And we're going to just fold our right foot. So now we have about 90 degrees between the thighs. Let's just fold forward. Take a breath here, try to draw the belly in. We're going to turn this into a side bend in a moment. Reach the right arm up, so we're twisting. And then side bend the right arm reaching over toward the left foot. It doesn't have to actually touch the foot. As soon as that arm starts reaching in that general direction, you're going to feel the whole right side body stretch out. Okay, let's rise up. Before we do that on the other side, we're just going to change this leg, and this is optional. We're going to change this leg to a Virasana position. We'll square up to face the left leg, so you'll be a little askew on your mat, a little more diagonal. If you need to sit on a block, feel free. And we'll fold forward for Tirya Mukha Kapada, Paschimottanasana. The tendency here is to fall over to the left. Just like in pigeon, it was hard to stay square. So potentially left hand out to the side as your kickstand, so that when you fold forward, you're lengthening straight over that left leg. Both butt cheeks are down. Good. And let's rise up. Open up that right leg again. And let's just fold with our legs in this V shape, just forward center. You may come to the elbows, you may not. You may want to straighten your arms out. You may want to put a block underneath your head and have your third eye kind of resting on that block. Keep your calf muscles pressing into the floor. That's going to help keep the legs straight. We'll rise up for Parigasana side 2. So for this version of Parigasana, we'll just bring the left foot to the right thigh, about 90 degrees here between the thighs, and we'll fold. The folding is just to help prep our hamstring, also to get our shoulder inside of this straight leg. So left arm up, here's a twist. We keep the twist as we extend the left arm over the ear, any amount. Notice as you get the idea of reaching toward your foot, maybe your leg stopped being quite so strong. So circle back to the foundation of the pose. We get distracted by the fancy stuff sometimes, but we always have to circle back. Okay, let's rise up. We'll turn that left foot the other way, Virasana style. The arch of the foot will just be right outside the hip. The thighs parallel to one another. We lift our armpits up off the hips and we fold forward any amount. The hands wherever you want them to be so that you keep your foundation solid. If any rocking is happening, you move your hands to a place where they help a little bit more. Okay, and let's rise up. We'll open the left leg up to that V shape again. And we're going to think about our heels in relation to our hips. We're going to try to make it a little more open. So we'll bring our fingers behind us, lift the butt and slide it forward a few inches, legs out a little more to the sides. And just repeat that a few times until your legs say, no mas. And when you're in the biggest V that you can be, we'll call it Samakhanasana. We'll bring our hands down inside of the thighs, and we're just going to return to Prasarita with the strength of our arms. So hands down close to your thighs, lean forward, shoulders in front of fingers, hoist your butt off the ground. Walk your hands a few inches forward. Start to walk your feet in. Your shoulders are leaning very far forward of your hands. And when you get to your feet again, just bring the hands to your hips and rise up. We'll come to stand at the top of the mat. Okay. Hands to prayer. Right ankle to lower left thigh. Flying pigeon just for a few breaths. We're going to do 3 things in a standing balance. All in the same fell swoop. So that left foot is just going to anchor right where it is. We'll lift the torso. Left hand is going to reach for the right pinky toe side of foot. So that right knee will come in to allow us that grip. And we'll kick out and twist. Depending on your hamstring, you're going to have a leg quite bent, but still I can reach my foot even if the knee is bent, or you'll extend out. Today, it feels better for me to keep the knee bent. But even with a bent knee, we're kicking through the ball of the foot. You're going to feel the tension between hand and foot regardless of how your hamstring wants to open. Okay, let's rebend that right leg a lot. We're going to change the hand. So now it's our right hand on the right foot with the knee facing down. And it seems like this should be pretty easy. You know, knee down, you did this a lot in your lunges. But what often happens is this. The knee kind of points forward. So work very hard to point it down. When you're able to do that without overarching your back, so your tailbone is still down also, we're going to reach both hands for the ankle and interlace the fingers. Flex the foot and start to kick some amount. And your torso is going to respond to your leg. The harder you kick, the more tension there's going to be with the hands, and it'll actually be easier to balance. And we'll start to decrease the kick so that we wind up again with our knee facing down. And we'll just let it go. Float your foot to the floor, shake it out. We'll do it all on the other side. So starting with the left ankle to the right lower thigh, flying pigeon. Such a nice hip stretch. But also it's a good prep for balancing because your center of gravity here is pretty low. Okay, right hand to the pinky toe side of the left foot. Start to stand. That left knee will come in and we'll straighten the leg any amount. Even if your top leg is bent, try to straighten your bottom leg. Now your center of gravity is a little higher because your bottom leg is straight. Okay, start to rebend your top leg. Change your grip, so it's your left hand on your left foot, point your knee down. And as we do this, try not to be here, sticking your butt out a lot, tailbone down. So your low back is very long. The target stretch spot is your hip flexors and quads. So if you can still be lifting your pubic bone up, zipping up through that Uddiyana Bandha, you'll be more effective in your stretch. Okay, so hands interlace on the ankle, if possible, and start to kick. I like to interlace on the ankle so that I can flex the foot. Sometimes folks will go on the foot. It's not a problem really. I just don't feel like my foot is strong enough to receive quite that much pressure. Okay, start to decrease the power of your kick. Find a place where your knee is facing down and your tailbone is reaching down. And then let it go. Shake it out. Okay, inhale, reach up. Fold, exhale. Halfway up, inhale. And step or jump back, chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. Forward to plank for an inhale. And all the way down onto the belly. We'll take our arms to cactus, like we did earlier, 90 degrees in the elbows, and they're just right out from the shoulders. And then let's bend the knees so that it feels like our heels are angling up. We're flexing the feet. Push your pubic bone down into the floor here. And on your inhale, lift your chest, your arms, your thighs. We'll call this skydiver. On the exhale, we'll lower ourselves down again. And on the inhale, we'll lift up again. And go whatever pace your breath is dictating. We'll just take a few. You might need to reset your pubic bone each time. And Lisa, try to lift your hands more. Yes, because they were a little bit low compared to your elbows. Good. The next time that you're lifting everything up, we're going to reach the hands back for the ankles. And it just turns itself into Dhanurasana. Now you can kick with your legs. Automatically your chest will come up higher. You can keep your feet flexed or point your toes. Some of you might want to bring your feet together. Take 2 more breaths, pubic bone down. Okay, slowly come on down. Miss Sally is the most perfect thing. I can't even stand it. Let's have our hands under the shoulders. Inhale, upward facing or cobra. And exhale, downward facing. Those of you who have never been to a live class with us, you don't actually know Sally, but she's come to classes before, and she's just this little white mutt dog who's maybe 15 pounds. Okay, let's come down to the knees. I should say shins. We're going to stand on the shins. And we're just going to take a little Laghu Vajrasana prep just to get our legs in the mood. Oh, and now Carolyn is like, hey, I got a cutie pie over here too. Ooh. All right, so we're going to keep a straight line from shoulders to knees. You can do whatever you want with your hands. I'm just going to reach mine out so that they don't get in the way of the camera view, but anything you want. We're just going to lean back and press our toenails down into the floor so hard that we can rise up again. And we'll just do that a few times. So we're leaning back. Don't go so far that you get stuck, and then come up again. Go to a place where it's difficult but not impossible to get up. Okay. So let's turn this into Ustrasana. Same idea for your toes, but the back, now we're going to focus on the upper third of the back arching. So hands to the hips, inhale. Your hips are going to stay moving forward. You'll just arch that upper third of your back and either keep your hands on your hips or reach for your heels. But at all times, your heels or your toes rather, are pushing into the floor to help you keep your hips forward. Good, and rise up on your inhale. And let's just rest for a moment in toe crunch. So for toe crunch, we're going to bring the balls of the feet together. I'm going to back up a little bit. And we'll have the, trying to see, so the sun is weird. We're going to have the ankles touch as well, and then we'll sit. I should face this way. And if you feel like one ankle is trying to roll out, just be aware of it so that when you go to something like a lunge, it's more in your perception, and then you can fix it so that you're balanced. That's the goal, to feel balanced. All right, so let's stand on the shins again. Either repeat what we did with your Ustrasana or Laghu Vajrasana. So the hips are going to keep reaching forward either way. Laghu Vajrasana, just so you can see it, I'm going to reach my hands for the ankles, and I'm going to come down as far as I can. Full poses to the top of your head. And even though I'm down this low, I'm still thinking hips up. And then the way up is toes and some arm. A lot of legs, though. A lot of thighs. So give it a try. Either Ustrasana, camel pose, or Laghu Vajrasana. And the name of the game is really press into your feet and keep your hips moving forward. Jules, for you, let's do your hands like this. Get your thumbs to your tailbone, and your other fingers will kind of curl around the front. And then with your thumbs on your tailbone, you can nudge your tailbone down and forward. And it just might give you a little extra. Okay, so when you've had enough of such things, we're going to attempt to sit in Virasana. If that is not cool with your knees, you're just going to sit like this, which is sort of like toe crunch, but with the feet flat. Virasana would be with your butt between your feet. Okay, I'm just seeing what's going on. Okay, so many of you are in Virasana, in which case you're going to go back to Supta Virasana. If you are sitting on the feet, you're going to instead go to Anjaneyasana, this one, and you're going to just stretch one set of quads at a time. So it would be the back leg stretching if you're in Anjaneyasana. And if you're in Supta Virasana, you're just doing them both simultaneously. Either way, we want to think pubic bone to belly button. When you're in something as insane as Supta Virasana, you're very inspired to bring your pubic bone up toward your belly button. So that's one of the nice things about nudging into hard poses is it makes you really work. It makes you want to work. Okay, so we'll start to rise up. If you were doing your Anjaneys, just make sure you're evening out both sides. You will have plenty of time to do so. We're just going to meet in down dog B on the forearms. And it's symmetrical. So if you were in Anjaney, we'd have tons of availability to wait for you to even yourself out because down dog B never gets old. We're going to try to work the thumb and pointer a little bit more. Press them down, and as if they want to touch each other. You'll actually feel the bone move within your little skin cover there. Okay, we'll come down to the knees. Anahatasana with the elbows bent. So we'll walk our knees back a little bit and we'll bring our forearms vertical. Either palms together or fingertips together and drop either your forehead to the floor or your chin to the floor. And eventually your chest and armpits to the floor. And see if you can find your Mula Bandha even here. So imagine your sitting bones drawing toward each other. As soon as you think about it, the muscle that connects them will start to turn on. Okay, and let's start to slide forward onto the belly. Let's bring the right arm out to the side, shoulder height, and just roll over onto it. And while you're here, notice the tendency to stick your butt out and overarch your back. Try not to do that. And then just head over to the other side. Okay. And let's come through center. Hands under the shoulders, inhale, upward facing, and exhale, downward facing. So we'll take one inversion now, then we'll take a few back bends from our backs, and then one more inversion. You decide if you go to headstand or forearm stand. Once we're up, we're just gonna play with the idea of bringing one heel to your butt and then the other heel to your butt. Just one leg at a time, similar to how you were doing things earlier. So you can look at your screen if you're not sure what I mean, but woo. So it's very hard because it's asymmetrical and you're upside down. Otherwise, it's not that hard because you've already done it. So you know your hamstrings know how to work. So the thing making this difficult has nothing to do with your hamstrings. Now it's just your balance. So move very slowly so that you have a chance to catch yourself if things go awry. Miss Jules, elbows in just a little more. Yeah, perfect, right there. And whenever you've done a couple on each side, then just let that go. Good. And then note you have a challenge with the wall, so you just won't bend quite as far because the wall gets in the way. Okay, so when you're finished with your set, take your time. We're just gonna meet on our back. And we'll just do a few back bends from here. Then we'll try the same thing from an inversion, and you'll just see if it's any different. So we'll lay back, heels pretty close to your butt. Push into your shoulders, get your hips up high, and let's interlace the fingers under the back for this one. So take the time to roll the shoulder under, lean to the other side so you free up the shoulder and then you can roll it. So there's a little bit of rocking at first. Dig your heels into the floor and traction them back a little bit so it feels like they're trying to touch your shoulders. Hello, hamstrings. Hello, butt. Okay, lower your butt onto your forearms. You're just going to be stuck in this shoulder opener. Okay, we'll lift up again, hips high. Either stay with your arms there or place your palms on the mat near your shoulders and come up to Urdhva Dhanurasana. Same thing with feet. Okay, let's come on down. So those of you that went up to Urdhva, you might want to come to your forearms this time. Or if you didn't do Urdhva because of a wrist situation, this next back bend is great for wrists. It has nothing to do with wrists. So even if you skipped Urdhva, perhaps you want to do this, Viparita Dandasana. You'd come to the top of your head, then you'd walk your hands back so they're closer to your feet. The way that people get a little bit screwed up here is when they're walking their hand back, they let their elbow go out to the side. When that happens, your shoulder's just going to get stuck. So you have to keep your elbows in your view as you walk your hand back. Then once the elbow's on the ground, you try to lift your head up and see your fingers. It's very hard to see fingers, but you know they're there. There should be no shoulder pain in this pose. If there is, it might mean that you're splaying them too much. Good. And Anouk is going to keep trying this, but everyone else, you can come on down. And we'll rise up and we'll take our final inversion, either headstand or pincha, with one leg bending at a time. So many of you, it was very easy. If you chose a headstand and you were bending one, you were like, piece of cake. So try something that's going to challenge you a bit. If you have a wall, be like this far from the wall, because otherwise your leg won't have room to bend. If things go very awry and you flip over, you will wind up, hey, Janet, yay, in Viparita Dandasana. Good demo, Janet. So you wind up in the previous pose. Good. So start to wrap up whatever it is you're doing. So if you're asymmetrical, work it out. If you're about to have a breakthrough moment, work it out. And we're going to meet eventually in a double pigeon right leg on top. So we're all in different places. You might want to stick in a vinyasa, you might not. It's a lot of choreography usually to get from one point to another. But I can only choreograph us as synchronized if we all start in the same place. So somehow get your right leg on top. Shins line up, feet are flexed like crazy. If your feet start to get wimpy here and your ankles start to bend, this hip stretch will be negated. Okay, left hand out to the side. Right hand up and side bend. Similar stretch to your Parigasana. Either stay here or right hand behind the head. Bring your forearm down a bit so that you feel it touch the edge of your head and push your head back. Reach through your elbow and push down through your right hip. And just to make the mental connection, the way that your shoulder's rotating right now is the same as your Viparita Dandasana. Okay, rise up. Bring the arms out in front of you and just walk them forward any amount so that you can fold in your double pigeon, which is a great way to stretch the back and hips after back bends. Okay, we'll walk it in. We'll switch legs. Left leg on top. I like to lift the butt and like reset the flesh so that it's kind of level, but however you want to deal with flesh. Left arm up and over. Don't fall to the sides. Your right hand is helping you. It's pushing down and bringing your left hip down. Hand behind the head. And just notice if you were to poke your elbow up straight to the ceiling, there's like a crunching, disconnected uncomfortableness in your left shoulder. So instead, bring your left elbow into your view, your forearm just outside the temple, basically. Push the head back. Reach through the elbow. So now it's at that diagonal, helping your side bend. And then there's no stress in the shoulder. Okay, bring it up. And walk the hands forward some amount. Okay, Paschimottanasana. Straighten out the legs. Reach out toward your feet. You don't have to actually reach your feet. And if you want to, but your legs are too long or your hamstrings are too short, either way you want to think of it, just bend your knees as opposed to holding a strap. Because really we're trying to work the hips here. It's not just a hamstring thing. So if we can bend the knees, then we get that nice positioning in the hips. Okay, and if there's any other poses you need before Shavasana, feel free to take them. Maybe a happy baby, maybe a twist. Maybe anything else. I only said 2 things out of thousands of poses. If you have a towel or a scarf you can put on your eyes, that's a nice way to make your Shavasana a little bit deeper. Let's take 5 more breaths here. Each exhale, just get a little heavier. Start to wiggle fingers and toes. Go through your process of sitting up. Whenever you are upright, we'll just bring left hand on the chest, fingers spread, right hand on top. Full breath in, and a full breath out. Again, breathing. Bring the hands to prayer, thumbs between the brows, and fold forward any amount. Take a breath at your deepest place. Namaste. Bye, you guys and gals, folks.
Thank you.